Will you join with me in prayer? Father, I pray that you would just strengthen your servant, Johnathan Edwards. Lord, as I tell my story one last time and I preach to the world, in your precious name I pray. Amen. It's March 20th, 1758, and I have become very ill as I have become the president of Princeton University. I do not know how much longer I will live, but before I get to that, I want to tell you my story one last time. I was born October 5th, 1703. I was the only son of 11 children. At an early age, I accepted Christ in my life. But then I thought I knew the relationship with Christ, but I really didn't. It wasn't until at an older age that I really found the true meaning of having a relationship with Christ and His sovereignty for me. It was through reading 1 Timothy 1:17 that I found that. And after reading that, I found the divine glory in everything that God has done in my life and everything that is around in this world. And I pray that y'all would read that as well, and it would affect and transform your life as well. At the age of 13, I went to Yale College. In 4 years, I graduated. And right after that, I went to my master's degree and finished that in 3 years. After I graduated, I went to be a pastor at Scott Presbyterian Church for about 8 months. After that, at the age of about 21, I went back to Yale as a teacher, where I would then soon meet my future wife, Sarah Pierpont. She was a wonderful lady, a wonderful woman of God. She prayed constantly, and she spent more time with God than with me, but I really didn't care with that at all. She helped me realize the equality of women and how women should be viewed. Women should be of equal value as men, and she taught me that. After we got married in 1727, I accepted the assistant pastor job under my grandfather, Solomon Stratford. I was under him for a while until he died on February 22nd. That was a hard time, but I knew that that's where I needed to be at that time. And God helped me become a great pastor. And I pastored there for quite a while. Did the regular 2-hour sermons, helped mentor people. I even did some study and some works during that. But I began to realize my whole view on how the church should view communion and how they should be a member of the church. My whole view changed from my grandfather's view. My grandfather's view was that if you partook in communion, then you were a member of the church. But I viewed that totally different. My personal opinion, I viewed it as there has to be an outward evidence that you were saved by Christ and that He was living inside of you. And then you could take the open communion. But the people at my church didn't really like that much. So, with that, they dismissed me from there in 1950. I was heartbroken, but then I knew that I couldn't take that much longer because they weren't experiencing the relationship with Christ that I knew that they would. So then I found a job being a missionary in Stockbridge, being a missionary to some Indians who very much needed a mentor and a great relationship with Christ. They didn't experience it at all like they should. So I preached to them. And then I because there were some whites that were trying to take over their land and try to take them over and just basically want to say wipe them out. But I stood for them as well as being a preacher for them. In about 1757, I got a letter saying that they wanted me to be the president of Princeton. It took me a couple months to decide, because I didn't know what God wanted me to do. So I prayed for about a couple months, and then I felt God telling me it was the right thing to do to be at Princeton. And that's where I am now. I am at Princeton as the third president. I accepted it in January of 1758. But one of the other things I would like to do is I would like to preach one of my famous sermons that I enjoy, that also changed my life as writing it. It's Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. It's a great sermon that has changed my life and that has changed other people's lives, because they realized that they can't do anything on their own, that you can't save your own self from damnation. So I would love to read that right now for you. All wicked men's pains and contraband, which they use to escape hell, while they continue to reject Christ and so remain wicked men, do not secure them from hell one moment. Almost every natural man that hears of hell flatters himself that he shall escape it. He depends on himself for his own security. He flatters himself in what he has done, and what he is now doing, or what he intends to do. Everyone lays out matters in his own mind, how he shall avoid damnation, and flatters himself that he contrives well for himself, and that his schemes will not fail. They hear indeed that there are but few saved, and that the greater part of men that have died heretofore are gone to hell. But each one imagines that he lays out matters for his own escape than others have done. He does not intend to come to that place of torment. He says within himself that he intends to take effectual care and to order matters so for himself as not to fail. But the foolish children of men miserably delude themselves in their own schemes, and in confidence in their own strength and wisdom. They trust in nothing but a shadow. The greater part of those who heretofore have lived under the same means of grace, and are now dead, are undoubtedly gone to hell, and it was not because they were not as wise as those who are now alive. It was not because they did not lay out matters as well for themselves to secure their own escape. If we could speak with them and inquire of them, one by one, whether they expected, when alive, and whom they used to hear about hell, ever to be the subject of misery, we doubtless should hear one and another reply, "No, I never intended to come here. I had laid out matters otherwise in my mind. I thought I should contrive well for myself. I thought my scheme good. I intended to take effectual care, but it came upon me unexpected. I did not look for it at that time, and in that manner. It came as a thief. Death outwitted me. God's wrath was too quick for me. Oh, my cursed foolishness, I was flattering myself and pleasing myself with vain dreams of what I would be hereafter. And when I was saying peace and safety, then sudden destruction came upon me." I pray that after reading part of this sermon for you, that you would realize that you can't save yourself from damnation. That if you rely fully on yourself, then you will go straight to hell. You have to have a complete fullness and a prosperous relationship with Christ to be saved and to actually live a faithful life for Him. That's the only way that you will escape the hell that so many people think they will escape by themselves. Because if right now, if we went to talk to people in hell, they wouldn't think they would be there, but they are, because they rely solely on themselves. And I hope and I pray that after reading that, you will see how I view the relationship with Christ, and I pray that you will do the same. I pray that He does that for you.